If you ask the Trump administration of their highest spending priority in terms of their budget, it's pretty clear: national defense. You see, this notion of building a $5.7 billion wall is going to be paid for at the expense of the United States military. It's the military that will end up surrendering projects that are underway, investments in our troops that are underway, so that the president can build this almighty wall of his that was supposed to be paid for by the Mexicans, right? I heard him say that. Oh, only 100 times, but I heard him say it. Now he's off of that. It won't be the Mexicans paying for the president's wall, it will be our military. I look in the state of Illinois, has several key projects that we consider to be essential. One in Peoria, Illinois. It's a fire crash and rescue station which needs to be upgraded for the safety of the men and women who work there and those who use that important airport. Last year, Hurricane Florence tore through the state of North Carolina. The Marine Corps happened to be one of the victims of that violent storm. The hurricane damaged roughly 800 buildings on base at Camp Lejeune, New River, and Cherry Point. Here's a kind of overhead shot, which is not as graphic because it was taken after the hurricane, but the blue coverings on the tops of these roofs are an indication of damage, structural damage that was done to these buildings. And as I mentioned, 800 buildings on these bases were impacted and damaged by this hurricane. This overhead shot taken last month indicates work that needs to be done before these buildings can be successfully inhabited by the Marine Corps and their families. The Camp Lejeune Chapel, incidentally, I have a photo of that too. There's not much left of it. It's an indication of the damage that was done there. This one worker was walking outside of the chapel. That's what's left of the chapel. Insulation's falling from the ceiling. There's no good reason to prolong the cleanup. As the Marine Corps said, they want to get down to work as quickly as possible and restore this training facility for the good of the Marine Corps and for our nation. But this is on the hit list for the president for the wall at the border. The United States Air Force needs $750 million to begin cleaning up Tyndall Air Force Base, leveled by Hurricane Michael. The Army leaders need $1 billion for everything from more training to jump-starting new technology to keep our troops safe and effective in the battlefield. The Navy has asked for hundreds of millions of dollars of additional dollars for unexpected ship maintenance. The National Guard has 2,100 personnel on the border, but it's starting to run low in its pay account. So it was hoping some of these unobligated funds, at least a small part of them, might be used so they can continue their border mission. Unless the Department of Defense finds $150 to $300 million this year, the National Guard will have to cut short its summer trainings in all 50 states. My subcommittee has identified almost $5 billion in military priorities that need attention today. But after President Trump takes half of that, $2.5 billion, to pay for his border wall, which priorities will get cut? The list goes on and on. Are we really going to tell our military, the very people who are protecting and defending this nation, that the needs they have identified and we have appropriated money for are going to be put on hold because President Trump made a campaign promise that he can't keep, that the Mexicans were going to build the wall? Republicans and Democrats in the Senate should join the House in rejecting the President's emergency declaration. The Senate should reject any effort by the President to take money from our troops, from the military, from the Marines, from the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, the National Guard units to build this wall. We may not agree on much, but we used to agree on one fundamental thing. Department of Defense was a priority. The men and women serving there deserve not only our gratitude, but the investment in their training, operations, readiness, and way of life that shows our respect for what they're doing in service to this country. We could do nothing less.